the myth of remittances in the Venezuelan economy. Well, today we discuss.
Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com.
Of course, it's well known that there is a significant diaspora of Venezuelans abroad, around 7 million people. Venezuelans living abroad, that since this diaspora started on, let's say, 2012, became significant in 2015, and in 2017 increased a lot. And right now we have migrants they are veteran migrants in their respective countries of arriving. And these particular migrants already, of course, they're a little bit more established on those particular countries. In order to mention a few, the biggest one, of course, is Colombia, that according to some figures is over 2 million. Then you have Peru, around 1 million Venezuelans. You have in Chile, around 500,000 Venezuelans. Other places in Latin America, like Ecuador, that is not as significant, but still important. Argentina, a couple of 100,000. You have Brazil, like 300,000 Venezuelans. Panama used to be a big deal starting the migration, but right now it's not as significant. Also, of course, you have the United States, that right now is around 700,000 Venezuelans over there. And also you have people in Spain, around 300,000. Those are the ballpark numbers, not the specific numbers. Very good. And now, since these people, let's say, are being more accommodated to their countries of arrival, they, of course, when you see a migration, you see a bunch of people, a bunch of migrants that they send money, small amounts usually, to their home country and to their family members, relatives, that kind of people. Very cool. Now, there is a myth that, since now we have talked about the Venezuelan economics, is that the Venezuelan crisis, the GDP collapsed 80% during the midst of the 2010s. And the Venezuelan economy hit rock bottom on 2018. That was the tipping point of the crisis. Very good. Now, if you look the chart of Venezuelan GDP, you see the economic recovery started on 2021. What happened is in 2018 still was a negative GDP growth, but very tiny, and fluctuated on 2019, in 2020 during COVID, of course, and on 2021 is when we start seeing the results on GDP metrics. Now, these particular amounts that average Venezuelans are sending to their families in Venezuela, on average, is kind of low. Now, those particular amounts are usually around $100 per month on average. And you have to take into account that the Venezuelan diaspora is actually a younger one regarding the time that has been compared, for instance, the migration from Mexicans or Chinese people or Hindu citizens is way larger, but also it has been more in time regarding that it has many decades. These people going all over the world. Meanwhile, the Venezuelan diaspora is fairly young, is just a decade old, and they are having more issues regarding establishing themselves on their countries of arrival. So, in order to sum it up, the Venezuelan diaspora, the remittances of the Venezuelan diaspora is important for the Venezuelan economy. Actually, I would say yes, it's important for a very significant cohort of the Venezuelan population. And right now, it's thanks to the remittances of Venezuelans abroad that the Venezuelan economy is kind of on recovery. Well, the answer is no. It's important, by the way. I'm not saying it's not important, but plays a second fiddle. The most important things actually are the oil revenue. I mentioned this a bunch of times. Around 90% of Venezuelan GDP is tied to the oil industry. And afterwards, you have a private sector that has become more significant on the past 6-7 years, and also other activities related to natural resources like gold mining or iron ore and that kind of an industry. Very good. Now, the importance, and this is not discussed as much, is regarding the core of the Venezuelan population, that those are the ones receiving the remittances, usually elder people, senior people that are in dreadful economic situation, I have to say, and also the younger ones, very young people that are not on working age, still very young kids or teenagers that are hoping to be educated. And meanwhile, of course, this process takes time, takes resources, takes funding, and is mostly coming, not mostly, but is significantly coming from the remittances of Venezuelans abroad. So I hope this amount increases. Right now it's around $3 billion. In 2023, should be poised to be on this particular figure on 2024. I hope that continues. Of course, I hope the conditions of the average Venezuelan abroad improves. It's dreadful for the average Venezuelan. They are barely making ends meet. Most of them, not all of them. Of course, you have a bunch of successful Venezuelans as well, but they are a minority. But meanwhile, their particular situation improves on their new home country. The remittances could increase to, let's say, $4 billion per year or $5 billion per year. I think so on the most optimistic case. But meanwhile, is this number that is significant, but is not the major factor in the Venezuelan economy.
Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to work with us, VenezuelaInsider.com. Thanks again, and have a nice day.